So it's about, well anyway, it's January the 6th at 10, almost quarter to 11. So, I guess I could show you what we're eating. It's nothing fancy. I'm having pancakes, which are those power cakes, and James is having, it's an omelet with kale and bell peppers and some fried onions as well. And we're both having kombucha. I'm having the ginger mint kombucha that I make, and he's having the regular. But neither very good. We're also having some blueberries from the freezer. So I'm going to put these with my pancakes. And then I'll see, maybe James wants some, so I'll save some of them for him in the dish. Don't want to waste. I don't have the syrup down the side because it's yum. Anyway, so we were given a whole bunch of this stuff. So the Kodiak cakes, power cakes, and I'll show you the ingredients off of this. It's not bad. It's it has whole grain wheat flour, and I know I reviewed a book recently which they're really not into whole grains. The guy's like, because of the lectin or whatever. Anyway, but I sure am into it. There's the ingredients. Can you see those? So anyway, but you'll notice that the Power Cakes protein blend, the first ingredient in that is wheat protein isolate, wheat protein, and then whey protein concentrate and milk protein. So the box says 14 grams of protein, whole grains, buttermilk, add water only, and that's all I did. But if you think about it, is it really 14 grams of protein? Not really, because the wheat protein isolate, that can't possibly be a complete protein. So whenever you think about protein, don't read these boxes and go, oh yeah, well I'm getting 14 grams of protein in whatever. What would that be? Half a cup, so anyway, so don't think of it that way. Think of it in terms of amino acids. What is the amino acid profile of the ingredients that you're using? So when you're buying a packaged product like this, which I'm not saying this is a bad product, I'm very grateful that I got it, and as far as pre-made pancake mixes go, this is the best one I've come across. So I'm not saying anything bad about it, but what I am saying is it's not really 14 grams of protein. It's 14 grams of incomplete proteins, and if you don't make that up somewhere during the day, like those missing amino acids, if you don't make them up, then you haven't gotten 14 grams of protein. You haven't. If you've recently went vegan or whatever, and well, this is not the product for you if you have. I'm ovo-lacto vegetarian. I always have been, but with a very, I shouldn't have any of the lacto. I really, it makes me phlegmy and stuff. So anyway, I can't handle it. But and I shouldn't have cholesterol. But anyway, so I should probably make my own mix with a different kind of protein powder, which I have done in the past. I prefer the hemp protein powder for a lot of things, but it does have a hempy kind of, a green flavor to it, and that can be off-putting. So first try brown rice protein powder. So you can make the same sort of mix for yourself using brown rice protein powder, and yes, it's an incomplete protein, but you make it up later on. You're conscious of it, you make it up later on down the line. And anyway, So this does have some complete proteins for sure because it has the whey, which is really not that good for a person. But anyway, that's what I'm eating today. I haven't been eating super healthy lately. But normally, if I'd want to make something like this, I would put my own protein powder. I'd make it from scratch, really, and then I know what I'm eating, right? But here, I don't really know how much protein there is in here. It says 14 grams. It is not. Unless later on for supper I have some, like a dal or something with some lentils or something like that, then I'm making up the protein, then I know that I've gotten that, right? But anyway, you see what I'm saying? So, The Darkest Minds was a total ripoff from, it's basically like X-Men, only sucky. So, it is not worth watching. And honestly, they should have to pay any amount of money that they made off of this thing, like the writers, everyone, just to the people who did X-Men, because this is just bad. Anyway. Skate Kitchen. Wow, that was so bad. But maybe worse because we watched it after this, which was really good. So I would not recommend Skate Kitchen. But A Simple Favor? You betcha, that was awesome. So that has, what's her name? Anna Kendrick and Blave Lively. And they look lovely. And the movie it was an excellent mystery. Wouldn't you say, James?
Yes, it was. That was the one.
Yeah, it was so good. So I don't want to give any of it away. I just want to say everyone should watch that because it's so good. And it has, I was watching the one woman. She's kind of a shy kind of person.
I don't think that's.
Sort of
I think she
like
was just playing that role. I don't think that's her naturally.
Well, she's a good actress.
I think she is.
Yeah. So anyway, she's playing a person like me who has her own blog where she does kitchen sort of things and whatever. And I guess origami at one point in there. But anyway, doesn't matter. She had a great thing where it was a remote control zoom for her camera, and she had the whole thing, her whole kitchen set up like a
studio.
Yes, it was excellent. And I was so jealous of that. But anyway, one day maybe I'll have such things when we make more than $18,000 a year. But right now, I'm very happy that we're eating wild blueberries, and James is eating kale, and we're having homemade kombucha. And yeah, that's turmeric in my glass because I had turmeric juice this morning. I warn you, it's pretty vinegary. Okay. So, because I like to try to get as much of the sugar out of the stuff as possible before I feed it to us. There you go, that's what it tastes like. So when you drink kombucha that is healthy, where you've tried to get rid of as much of the sugar as possible, it doesn't taste that good. Anyway, but so this movie, I was very jealous of her blog kitchen, and it eventually, like, she didn't have a popular blog. You could tell it was much like mine, where she's she kept addressing her mom because she knew her mom was the only one watching, and then all of a sudden it went viral because she was trying to solve this mystery, right? Which is excellent. Which I don't know if we'll ever have that opportunity. So
I hope not. Mm-hmm. That was that kind of scary. So.
Mm-hmm. I have to get up to show you this. Well, I don't have to. Wild Mittens Unruly Socks by Lumi Karmitsa, which is adorable. She's a cute little lady. See her dog? Yeah, he's in a lot of. I know. Well, he's in a lot of the pictures. See again. But anyway, there's her dog, and she even gives a thank you at the end.
To the dog?
Yeah.
What's his name? Or her name?
Kalepi? I don't know. She wants to thank her dearest friend Kalepi for his continuous and utter disinterest in my knitting projects. Yeah. Anyway, I just love that. You see, what I wanted to do was, a friend of mine said, your coffee is going to get cold on the way home, because I've been drinking, but it was decaf, the McDonald's stuff that he made, and I've only been doing that twice a week, which, that's probably why I'm doing things like eating power cakes. But anyway, this is not the worst of what I've been eating. So, but anyway, I was over drinking coffee, and someone said, your coffee is going to get cold, because I poured it in this cup, and I have this lid that it's a glass. I drink out of a glass cup. Anyway, so I said, oh, it doesn't matter, it'll warm my hands on the way home. And so I was thinking, what I really need is to make myself some sort of mittens that are sort of like a muff, ish. So say a mitten where it's longer out here, right, where I can stuff the cup inside, and then my other mitten holding the cup too. And then, wow, will my hands stay warm? So anyway, that's what I was thinking, and then I was thinking, do I really need to be knitting? So I'm not sure if that's going to go anywhere. So anyway, the Mindful Glow cookbook. Now, I didn't really like this by Abby Sharp. I found it a little bit, I don't know, pretentious, is that the right word? I'm not sure. Like, sometimes I find with cookbooks they'll have, I should have marked the page, because there was one that was absolutely ridiculous. It was like gently torn butter leaf lettuce or something. Oh my God. And everything is like that, right? Where it just, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you'll like it. But there's a few recipes in here that I have made note of, and I will be trying because they look good. Now, I'll talk about this one first. The Essential Indian Instant Pot Cookbook by Archana Mundi of Ministry of Curry. And I didn't mind this cookbook, but it's certainly not the best. It's not the worst Indian cookbook that I've come across, but it's not very good. So as far as Indian cooking goes, I wasn't very impressed with this one, because I love Indian cooking. So I've went through a lot of Indian cookbooks, and I like to focus on that sort of stuff myself. So I will be trying this later today, which is cumin rice on page 52. Because it's just easy as can be, and I have never put these ingredients together, so I'm interested to see what they will taste like.
The cover looks better than the previous one.
Well, I know, yeah, like, what is that about?
Well, it's trying to look fashion.
Yeah, I suppose, but, and maybe it's for people who just want to go out to a restaurant and say, oh, I read about some darling fennel dish, and then they just go pick out something with fennel, and they know nothing about how to make it or whatever.
Kind of looks like an art gallery decor, how it's all white.
Yeah, I didn't like that one at all. Now, my favorite book of this bunch that I read, well, I really like that knitting one, but I prefer this one even. So this is Healing Herbal Infusions by Colleen Kodicus? How would you say that? Kodicus?
Exoticus is probably when you got a European kind of word and you got a K in it and a C in it. The C is usually
The first thing I noticed about this is this beautiful blue. Check that out.
That's nice.
Yeah, when you first open it, fantastic. So I don't know if she picked this out or if the publishers did, but wow. And then the next picture that you come across is that with the orange calendula flowers. So that's right away you have a wonderful kind of color therapy thing going on with the blue and then the orange. It's just wow. And so that made me love it instantly. What I didn't love about it is the fact that it's paperback and it's a library book, and this is not going to last long because of that. I don't know, Claire's Home Public Library, why didn't you order it in hardcover? Because it's an excellent book. And this woman, where does it talk about her?
Claire's Home Public Library is a good library.
It is.
Let's make
Yeah,
that
we've
per
borrowed
capita
many
way better
wonderful
than
things
the Lethbridge
from them.
Public Library.
So she, let's see, lived and worked in how do you say that? Yosemite? Yosemite National Park for 10 years. I'm not sure. Anyway, I mostly read. I don't get out much and talk to people, so when I have to speak to share anything that I've read, I really have to confer with James, because he's the talker, and we're both readers, but yeah, it doesn't help me with things like how to pronounce names or things like that. He knows that sort of thing far better than I do. So she did take some herbalism courses, and she's just been learning and learning for a few decades about herbs, and she's learned a lot. So if you happen to be a budding witch, we were talking about witchcraft lately, and you want to learn about herbs, this book is a great place to inspire you to learn more about herbs, because I mean, really, you could use a lot of these, make a lot of these for spells. You could, and they all have magical properties. And really, when you're thinking magic, think a lot of the time beneficial health properties. So these things, they're great. Now, I want to make note, the book isn't perfect. Much of it is really when you're making some sort of balm or whatever, the steps are the same, right? There's the infusion process where the herbs are left in the oil for 4 to 6 weeks or whatever, and then you strain that, and then you do the double boiler stuff to make like to put in your beeswax and stuff like that, or whatever, and the other oils that you're putting in. So these steps are repeated and repeated. So when you're reading this, you're like, it's the same recipe. Well, you know what? You're learning how to make these things, and yes, they're made in very similar ways, but you've got to learn how to do it. So, so it might be boring for some people that way, but I didn't find it boring. I loved it. Page 28, vitamin C tea. Well, how's vitamin C for, how does it stand up to heat? So if you're making a tea with it, are you getting vitamin C out of those? Like these things, sure, rose hips, hibiscus flowers, orange peel, yeah. But like you're gonna get a lot of. My mom, when we were kids, my mom wasn't actually that much older than me, but she just seemed like a teenager, and we'd wander along together. So when we were on the farm, and then Grandpa's farm or whatever, too, not just our own, but she'd wander along and she'd be eating rose hips, and she'd try to convince us, try it, and we were like, it has a texture of wood or whatever. We didn't like it, but she's trying to teach us, what things, if we ever happen to find ourselves lost in the wilderness or something, well, we know what to eat. And I really appreciated that about my mom. But so and it's true, if you're wandering along and you find some rose hips and you eat some, and make sure that they haven't been sprayed with anything or whatever, and that they're safe for you to eat, and that it's legal for you to pick them. I mean,
national parks, not a good idea.
No, you can't. And she mentions that, but she's talking about the California poppy at one point, and she says, people think that it's illegal to pick the California poppy, and it's illegal to pick it in national parks, on government property, she says, but not elsewhere. Well, private property, if I had a garden in California and I was trying to grow my own California poppies to make various tinctures or whatever with, I'd be pretty choked if somebody came along picking my California poppies, I'll tell you that.
Well, it happens here right in the middle of
yeah.
town. So.
Yeah, because, I mean, just, it's pretty much a nightly thing. People check out, I have my cooler with right now my camera's set up on an upside down plant pot, which is on top of my cooler. And somebody had removed said plant pot and looked in my cooler last night. And it happens just about every night. People are foraging through my trees. Yeah. So anyway, So I wanted to point that out about vitamin C tea. Not tea. Don't try to get it that way. So anyway, look that up for yourself about how stable vitamin C is when you heat it. Because you should look everything up for yourself. Don't believe me. What do I know? I've just been studying it for
Now that's the same thing
several
for
decades.
MDs,
It's
PhDs.
yeah, don't believe whoever you read.
everything
Check it out.
And check up those sources too.
Mm-hmm.
There's all sorts of mistakes in things like Cambridge University Press publications, Oxford University Press publications.
Yeah, and you'd expect those to be
You'd
spot
expect
on.
them to be pretty well pristine, but mistakes. And those are just matters of fact. When it comes to matters of interpretation, there are mistakes everywhere. So.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. But anyway, so I definitely think everyone should get healing herbal infusions from the library before it falls apart because they only got it in paperback format.
Yeah, it sure would have been a hardcover.
Yeah.
So,
It's
can
too
you
bad.
chuck it over here?
Yeah, I'll just make sure I
Pass it over.
don't have any
Yeah, you don't want
blueberry
the
on my finger.
It's got a different kind of blue.
Yes, it's very beautiful.
See, this is their 2 dates of publication. Yeah, it looks as though this is a separate, the second run, same year. But
You didn't have to pack it over here.
well, I'm getting up.
Thank you.
anyway,
Okay.
Feeling a bit sick, so
Oh,
gotta
poor
get
darling.
inside. Sunflower seeds to settle my stomach.
Yeah.
Maybe lie down.
Did you want to eat those blueberries?
Well,
No, no, I know.
It's mainly I got too much this past.
Okay.